Welcome everyone to another video from Midian Gaming. Well, you know I like Vampire: The Eternal Struggle, and we're always looking at ways to actually bring new people into the game. And I thought creating a new video series in regards to explaining certain cards that they may see might help them in the game and different ways to use it. I also wanted to take cards that I normally would not see in our play group or I haven't seen for quite a while, and just discuss the cards in ways on how they can be used, how viable they are in their use within the game, the current game as it sits, and yeah, just creating a series on that. I think it will be really helpful, and that's what this video is about today. So let's get started straight on it, and that starts with Aaron's Feeding Razor. This is a card I've used quite extensively myself. I haven't seen other people using it as much. However, I do believe that this is certainly a card that does get use. Like, the bearer gets +1 on the hunt, so whenever they go and hunt, instead of getting 1 blood, they get 2. Now, this is fantastic if you're creating a bloat deck that you're looking to actually take stuff off vampires. You can have 1 minor vampire there with a blood dole or anything else on them. They can be hunting and you could be taking blood off them and just be doing that each turn. It is fantastic. I use it myself, so I can't say it's underutilized other than my opponents not using it. Yeah, so I think it's a fantastic card, and it does have a place in a lot of decks, I believe. You know, when you have to go hunt, usually you're on 0 blood or you're on 1 blood, and you could certainly do with 2. You know, you're lucky enough to get this earlier on in the game, then yeah, so be it. Great card. All right, let's go on to the next one. All right, so we've got Abandoning the Flesh, which is a demontation card. Only usable by a vampire being burned. Usable by a vampire in torpor. So, remove this vampire from the game instead. Diablerie, if any, is still successful. And put this card into play. You may not play this card if you already have an Abandoning the Flesh in play. Lock during a bleed action to give an acting vampire with demontation +1 bleed. So, I haven't seen this card at all. With the 40-odd thousand cards that we're sorting through at the moment, just going through right from the beginning and picking cards out, and this is one that I picked out. Has it got a use within the game? Look, it's limited use when you're bleeding, especially with demontation. You know, you've got some really good bleeds there. You've got your +1s, +2s, you know, even +3s, and really getting out there. Look, when you are trying to finish off your opponent and you're 1 bleed short, you know, a card like this really comes into it. Does have a few, you know, caveats. You need demontation to play it, and the vampire that's bleeding also needs demontation in order to give it the +1 bleed. If this card, if you're able to play quite a few of them out, that would be fantastic, but you may not play this card if you already have 1 in play at the moment. So its use, I feel, is limited. I would love to know from the community if this is a card that's being, you know, more utilized than what I'm talking about right now. I've never actually seen this card played. So yeah, really interested. When you are suffering those bleed actions, that extra +1 bleed can really knock you off the edge, and that's where I see this card potentially coming to use. Let's just go through it again. Yeah. And you could do this on purpose. You know, you could bring out like a 2 or a 3 cap, really get them killed, and just to enact this card. It's possibly worth it, especially to get one of your bigger guys bleeding through. So, Abomination, another one that I myself have not experienced with in game. No one's really gone the time to actually do this. So let's take a look at it. It's a +1 stealth action, requires a ready non-sterile vampire. All right. Burn a ready unlocked werewolf ally you control. All right. So you'd want a werewolf ally out there. You want them to have done their job like a renegade gower or anything like that and be low on health before playing an abomination. or maybe you've got some other trick up your sleeve in how to play it, please let me know in the comments. But let's keep going with this. It becomes a unique, so one of, independent abomination with a 4 capacity, superior protean, and +1 strength. So pretty good. You know, you got the potential to be burning vampires with the aggravated damage with that +1 strength. Move up to 4 blood from the acting vampire to this vampire. So it does become its own vampire. This vampire gets an additional strike. Wow. Each round and an optional maneuver each combat. So additional strike each round. He may enter combat with a ready minion as a D action. I don't know why I have not seen this in more games. It is a pretty vicious looking card with the maneuver, the additional strike, arm it with some type of weapon if you want. Like, it's doing pretty good. I really like it. And it only costs 1 pull. Not even anything off the vampire other than the 4 blood that they were paying for it. So, you know, and funnily enough, you could have that vampire get out an abomination, go feeding with an Aaron's feeding razor, and be back on half the blood that he actually gave this abomination in 1 round. It's pretty good in that respect. So, yeah, I don't see why I haven't seen this in more play. Probably because combat decks don't do as well as, you know, stealth bleed or political votes, but it is a very interesting one. If you've got a problem with a particular vampire that's sitting on the table, you've got pretty much a free rush here. So with additional strikes, with protean, with +1 strength maneuvers, wow. Yeah, nah, very, very good. All right, what's the next card I got on the chopping block? We've got Absolution of the Diabolist. Right, requires a ready Justica or Inner Circle member. Now, before we do go on to this, go back to this card, Abandoning the Flesh, where Diabler is allowed. So, as I was talking before, you could get one of your younger vampires, get them into torpor, Diablerize them, and then probably play this card. This card is playable during your minion phase, only usable when a vampire is about to be burned by a blood hunt. Cancel that blood hunt. So it costs you 1, but you cancel the blood hunt, and you could potentially have if you were to combine those 2 cards and get them in hand, +1 bleed for the rest of the game. So pretty good. Starting to see how this card can be used a little bit more effectively now that we're talking about other cards, yeah? Yeah. So it's master out of turn, which means that when your master phase comes around again, the next turn you don't get the master phase because you used it in this. Great thing is that you've played your master phase this turn, gone for the Diablerie, and this can be played in your minion phase, which means the next one you won't get it, yeah? All right. What other card did I pick out? Absorb the Mind. All right. So I feel this is quite a limiting card. Look, let's just take a look at it. You've got Minor Dominate, Strike, Dodge. Yeah, not bad. Then you've got, is that Mythcaria or something in that regard? Strike, Range, Steal 1, Blood. That's pretty good. As above, for the advanced, Strike, Range, Steal 1 Blood, and steal 1 Master Discipline card from the opposing vampire. Put on the striking vampire. Look, I say it's limiting, but if you are playing the clan, this is all right, okay? Because you are stealing the blood, and you steal the blood before any other damage is done to you. You've got, look, it is a strike. It is range strike, so it's both at close range and long range. And if they, by chance, have a discipline card on the opposing vampire, you get to take it. How good is that? So it's an and steal 1 Master Discipline card from the opposing vampire, thereby lowering their generation, upping yours, and who knows what card you might get. It might work with your abilities. Look, for the clan, I like this card. If I was using it just for Dominate, probably other better things. But yeah, I like it. The more rereading it again rather than me first seeing it, I actually do like it because there is that chance. Like, I was playing the Nurgle, Forever Nurgle deck just yesterday, and I needed that Serpentis card on him in order to make him 11th gen so he could call the Great Beast and use the Gem of Etrius, yeah? Effectively. A card like this would have really messed with my day if I'd gone into combat and they had stolen that discipline card, the deck just wouldn't have got off. I would have had to have waited for more discipline cards to be coming in hand, at which point they could potentially steal them, yeah, before I could use the Gem of Etria. So yeah, it definitely has its uses. I like it. Yep. All right. Last card. Let's take a look at what I got. Abyssal Hunter. So, La Sombra card. Costs 2 pull. Play this. It's an ally. So, demon with 4 life, 3 strength, and 0 bleed. So, yeah, very good. Can inflict 1 damage on any minion as a D action. So there you go, your Prodigal Sorcerer right there, just going around going pinging people for 1 damage, which can be really annoying. Such a useful skill if you can't get to someone's vampire and you need to, whether across table or one way or the other. Pretty handy. You keep pinging them for 1, it's gonna take some effect later on. During your unlock phase, Abyssal Hunter inflicts 1 damage on a ready vampire you control. Usually that's manageable, especially if you've got someone that's going to hunt. You imagine if you are every round taking a blood doll from like a 2 cap, and then they're taking 1 damage from this, but then they go and use their Aaron's Feeding Razor and fill back up again and keeps that going every turn. So yeah, just little ideas. When you start looking at the cards, you start seeing different ways that you could use them. And if I had this and this happening, this could happen, making this card better, yeah? So burn Abyssal Hunter if any ranged aggravated damage is inflicted on it, even if prevented. So you don't want to get to that second turn to actually find that, you know, thaumaturgical aggravated damage coming your way ranged. And they have clarified, LSJ did clarify this in one of the rulings, that even aggravated damage at close range, being at ranged, will still kill the Abyssal Hunter, okay? That's it. That's everything I had. So what were your thoughts? Put them down in the comments. Let us know. And let us know if we missed anything in that regard. If you're liking the channel and you want to support us, give it a thumbs up. And if you really want to back us, why not give us a subscribe? It's a second of your time. It's a lifetime of love for us, okay? Looking forward to many more of these videos to go, as there are so many cards in this game. All right. Have a great one, guys. See you all on the next video. See you all.